Warning. Following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers and or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hey. I lost all the numbers. I didn't get any of them.
Okay. Well, I got all of them. So you were looking down though. Hopefully that's why. You know what? This podcast, Meet Us in the Man Cave, is not about Sesame Street or Electric Company or Who's the Boss. No, it's not.
Well, damned.
Now, before I get into asking...
You suckered me into this.
Yeah. Before I get into asking you, Chris, how your week has been, how life's been treating you, naturally, of course, we want to stare into our camera lenses, looking at, I noticed earlier, 100,000 finally. 100,000.
Whoa.
Subscribers.
100K. That's crazy.
Yes, K. That over here, that's how we do the math. You could figure it out if you want to check it out. But seriously, folks, thank you for so much on the YouTube. Thank you for listening to us on the podcasting apps. Those numbers are higher than everywhere else. So I don't know why I try to focus on the video aspect when people listen to us more on Apple and Spotify, which is good, And I'll admit I've been guilty of not uploading about 4 or 5 videos over at Rumble. So, but yeah, thank you folks for joining us, supporting us, and hopefully we can continue to make this Meet Us in the Man Cave shine. Shine, I said.
Yes. Thank you folks for hitting that fucking button a couple times. The subscribe one, not the log off one.
Yeah. And of course, yes, it is true. If you like our shit, that makes us a little bit more popular in the UB2 world algorithm. I know, but you need to get on TikTok. Sorry, I'm not a kid. I'm just not I know there's plenty of adults my age or a little bit younger that love that TikTok thing.
You don't like the tiki-talkie?
I like it.
Dude,
where
I
I
don't
could
even have it. I'm just making fun.
I mean, we have technically a Meet Us in the Man Cave TikTok. I'm too lazy to get on Facebook anymore and say, check out our latest video.
We have a TikTok?
Yeah, I tried it.
Fuck.
There's a TikTok.
Fuck me. I didn't know that.
Yeah. In fact,
Yikes.
Natalie, she knows that we exist there. Andrew knows that we exist there. But Chris,
I don't have TikTok at all. I did not know that.
Well,
Holy
you technically
shit.
have a Meet Us in the Man Cave TikTok. It's just where I've uploaded shorts in the past. So not personal shorts, but, folks, Chris and I, we love to come down in our man cave, shoot the shit, have a little bit of fun here, maybe digress a little bit of what's been going on in our world. And sometimes it gets a little off hand and we get a little crazy, But tonight's particular episode, I think it's going to be a little bit more serious. We've talked about it briefly in the past. If you've been following us, we've wanted to attack men's mental health issues. That's easy for me to say. And there's some shit that's happened, by the way, the recording of this podcast. We always do Saturday evenings most of the time. So it's like Memorial Day weekend. So what we're about to talk about is never going to be outdated, unfortunately. I wish it would be outdated, Chris. But before we get into that, Chris, I've got to ask you a very important question.
Ask it, my man, because I'm ready.
What the fuck are you drinking?
Hell yeah. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
What the fuck you drinking?
So tonight I actually went to in Huber Heights. There's a little liquor store. It's right beside that record store that you were always telling me about.
Oh, okay.
And I went there, and they actually had the War Pigs like the whole lineup. So I went ahead and bought the 12-pack. And this one looked really special. But it's called Cave of Dreams. It's a Marzen Fest beer. So I'm guessing this is gonna be like maybe Oktoberfest vibes.
Ooh. Oh, Memorial Day weekend. Perfect.
No. Let me go ahead and pour it into our beautiful Meet Us in the Man Cave. Ooh, it shows up on the black shirt. That was.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
I planned all this. I planned this. Let me go ahead and pour this. Oh yeah, this is. Wow. This is red. This is almost orange. This is definitely.
Ooh. It's.
Oh yeah, that is so. This is like Oktoberfest.
Oh, helps cools you down a little bit right now. Ooh.
Wow.
I've seen that actual 12-pack at the Myers in Huber Heights, which isn't too far from the state liquor store that was where I was actually at today, because I'm always, for some reason, running out of Jameson. I don't know why. Ooh. Yeah, that's got an autumn vibe to it.
Oh yeah, it's got an autumn smell to it too.
So what's War Pigs with, what was the name of that again?
Cave of Dreams.
Cave of Dreams.
And here we go. Damn. That is like a stronger version of Sam Adams. Oktoberfest.
I'll tell you
That
what.
is pretty good,
I
man.
think we're going to have to do a special podcast on War Pigs from what it sounds like. Nothing to get Munster, Indiana, but we don't live in Munster. It's too bad it wasn't around the corner, if you know what I mean.
Now, are you going to go? Let's go beers first, because I'm sure you have a left hand and a right hand, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you got a. We'll follow up after.
I don't have
You go
anything
next.
new, but I figured I'm going to go with War Pigs again. We've already done it. It seemed to be a favorite of ours, Blinded by the Light, and just out of honor for it right now. It has a rhythm going, and I haven't had one in a while.
Beautiful.
And I need something comfortable right now. I need a comfy beer, if that makes any sense with this particular subject in hand. Yeah, this is that Blinded by the Light.
And you know what? Today was a little bit warm, so that's going to hit the spot a bit.
Yeah, I noticed as I was sitting down, I'm like, why the hell did I finished cutting my lawn about an hour before I'm sitting in this chair. And of course, every time I do that, I get like a rash, like my face breaks out from like allergy. I'm like, God damn it. My face looks like a teenager again. But enough about my redness. Let's get into some. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just tastes so good. There's something about that.
That's
War
it.
Pigs.
That is a fucking beautiful beer. I love it.
Yeah, it's funny. Every once in a while, when I go to that Myers not far from actually where I work, on Executive Boulevard, I always swing in there to see if they have at least a 6-pack of these, but I don't know why. I mean, if it sells well, you would think that they would, get their little van out there and stock up some more. But, I may have to take a road trip up to Munster sometime soon.
Yeah, maybe we will.
And of course,
Be good content.
I just got just your basic Jameson,
Basic James.
Yeah, didn't get the. I was low on some because I've got like 4 different bottles of Jameson out there, and I'm like, you know what? I just go back to the original.
I was in West Virginia this week. Go figure, right? But I ended up stumbling upon kind of a unicorn out there. I'm real big on the Isla Scotch whiskeys.
Yeah,
I've been drinking them, collecting them. I love it. But I ran across Ardbeg. It's Corey Reckon is what it's called. And I've been looking for this. The Ugadal is still my favorite, but this Corey Reckon I've been wanting to try. It's pretty fucking expensive, if I'm being honest, man.
Yeah, so on that subject there, you said you were in Huber Heights. Didn't you see when you go into the door, you've got that aisle right there, and then the aisle where they have all the whiskey, the bourbon and stuff, and the Irish whiskey, and of course the Scotch and all that. I'm sure you were pretty impressed with what they had there with all the Scotch whiskey.
They have Lafroig.
Yeah.
Lafroig 10. They have Ardbeg 10. They have the Wee Beastie, which is the 5-year-old. They got a few. They got some Oban, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
This I've just been looking for this one for a minute, man.
You need to stop into Van Dyes, since it's that near, because their liquor store has a more variety, I've noticed. Oh, I've got a box for you. One of these days, or eventually when I make it out to your end, I've got a box, because I've got some brandy snifters that I think would be appropriate for you. They're perfect for all show.
I was about to ask you, what's in the box? What's in the box?
It's some glasses. It's nothing, just because I have so many of them that I've actually had them out in the garage collecting dust. I'm like, you know what? I'll give you a couple of those, and then that way they're just perfect. They keep it warm if you just, for brandy, and it's for whiskey as well. Holding it up to the light. Wow.
Man.
Now, I'll let you know now if you're watching. If you're listening, it doesn't matter. As we all know, everybody has their poison that they prefer. You either are going to love or you're going to hate Scotch, or you're going to love, you're going to hate whiskey, you're going to love, you're going to hate bourbon. That's just how it is. So it's amazing. I myself, when it comes to whiskey and Scotch, I love it. I love them both. So it's a win-win for me. But what, Chris?
Sorry for the silence there, folks. But I was getting it on they call it on the nose and on the palate, and then you drink it afterwards. But you got to take it in the nose, and it really ups the game.
Oh yeah, it enhances the flavor, no doubt about it.
Oh my God, though, you got to try this one.
Just because I can't.
Wow.
Oh man, I even made sure I have some water on the side because, damn, by the time I get over there, Chris, you're gonna have probably 100 bottles of Scotch over there. That's a good problem.
I'm gonna keep going. It's getting a little collection going over there.
I can't help but wonder, before we do get into the subject matter, because folks, I know a lot of you out there, like myself, have heard so much of what's going on, like in the entertainment world. It just seems like it doesn't want to stop when it comes to Sean Combs. And of course, there was the video released here this past week or whatever, past couple weeks. I don't know. But before I get into that, Chris, because I know we're going to get into that topic, it relates to it big time. And I don't mean to make it relate to it. How has your week been? Because I know there's some things that's been going on in your personal life that I've even told you I'm kind of superstitious because I don't want to jinx certain things. And is there any updates that you can share with us, or are you not quite ready yet?
Well, there's a lot of updates. There's a lot that went down. We ended up closing on the house. House is sold.
Where's that sound effect at?
Everything went pretty damn smooth. I can't really complain.
I can do it again.
Stop. Quit it. Stop it.
Oh, there's the pause button.
Oh, okay. No, you know what? Something that we've been working since October on, and it's now May. Shit, it's almost June, isn't it? Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Memorial Day weekend for a lot of you folks.
That's a long time of paying 2 mortgages. That's a long time of dealing with all the shit we've had to deal with and trying to fix things and looking forward to the future and to see that money go in the bank account was just like, oh man, that's a good feeling.
And another important thing for and your credit score has obviously been affected by that too.
Oh yeah, it's gonna probably skyrocket.
Oh yeah.
But if I could give a shout out to our realtor, Heidi Wright, she did amazing things for us. She helped us so much above and beyond what I've ever witnessed any realtor do for people. Like she's a pretty good friend of Natalie's. So, there is that, but she didn't have to do half the things that she did. And she was just very, very helpful, very supportive. And I want to send a thank you out to her. I don't know if she's ever going to, see this, but
she should.
I thank you. She did amazing things.
She should. Everybody should. The world should.
I don't know that we'll ever be able to repair that or repay that.
With this realtor and all that, of course, if you live in this area, and I'm sure some of you do, I'll put the her link and all that, her information in the description box, because this has got to be a very difficult time, not only for someone who's wanting to, I want to say, sell a home. I personally, I'm not looking to sell mine. It's not that I'm in love. It's just this, realistically, this is not the right time. I mean, why would I want to sell my home? Okay, let's put it this way. I have individuals offering to buy my home all the time, and I could still live here, but I'd have to probably pay twice of what I pay on my mortgage right now because, they want to make a profit off of it. So, and her, like you said, she went above and beyond. I know those weren't your exact words, but I would imagine her job is more difficult today than it has been in the past 3 or 4 years.
No, she did. She went, that's a good way of putting it, is above and beyond. I mean, she didn't have to do half the things she did. I mean, she was great.
That's awesome, man.
We couldn't have done that without her.
I will say it now, even though I wasn't there for 10 years, I was only there for 10 minutes. I'm going to miss that house. Because we started this podcast where Chris's background was different than it is now, and duh, and naturally, I mean, I met Chris before, through YouTube, really, and you know what, I'm going to miss that house, and I know that you guys had a lot of memories, but where you live at now, oh my God, the memories could just be tenfold there because it's such a beautiful place. It's like above and beyond of memories that I can't even imagine that you're going to accomplish where you're at. So, and I'm sure you're going to be able to enjoy your home more now that you don't have to worry about 2 mortgages. So
it's getting there, man.
Yeah.
It's getting there. It takes a minute once you move, things don't really feel like home at first, but give it a little time and you'll start getting used to things and it's really, I mean, I love this place.
Yeah.
I loved the other place though. So, but I can't it's like putting your kids, side by side and being like, which one do I like more? I can't do that.
Less steps.
I love both. That house did amazing things for us. It grew my babies up and I talk about that house like it's a person, but it's not.
I believe me, I get it. Yeah. But, and I agree with you said, it takes time. It's taken me, I'm not 100% saying this is my home, but the way the market is today, the way things are around here, I'm going to do my best to make this my home. In fact, I'm going to try to make it more like me, not just the man cave, but hey, you know what? It's just me and Dozer and Zach every other weekend. I might as well just my personality all over the damn place, if you know what I mean. So that being said, Oop. Oop. I know you've got some more news to share, Chris. Maybe we could get into that in our next podcast if you liked, kind of spread the love out, because I know
That's fine.
I know this subject matter is pretty heavy, pretty thick.
Yeah.
I'm going to start off, and I'm going to try to balance this out so I don't overspeak Chris because this is, fuck it. I'm going to get right into it. As we all know,
well,
go ahead. Sorry. Please.
I want to, as I interrupt you here, let me say part of being a good friend and being a supportive friend, whether you're male or female, I believe is listening. So when Scott's saying that, I want to be supportive and I want to listen right now while he shares what's on his mind. And so if I sound quiet, that's why.
And I thought about this earlier. In fact, early in the week, a couple times, because I knew that I had to get this off of my chest. If I sound a little higher in tone, I'm not yelling at anyone. It's just I'm just going to get into it. As we all know, the world has been struck by the chaos and the terrible shit that we've been hearing left and right when it comes to Sean Combs, aka P Diddy, aka whatever, Puff Daddy, whatever. You guys know what the hell I'm talking about. Personally, I think they should remove all of his nicknames and it's Sean Combs now. That's because I don't think it's funny, as I was going through my day, I seen a commercial where I was jokingly in my head, well, why wasn't Sean Combs invited to this ad? Because it was advertising the NBA finals. And there was a lot of celebrities there from the NBA past and music industry. And I'm thinking, well, why wasn't Sean Combs there? Anyways, I'm sure a lot of you, and I'm not going to share the video because it could get Chris and I in trouble. From when it was released from CNN. If I had to help me out here, Chris, if I remember correctly, they said this was a video from 2014 or 16.
I thought it was 16.
Okay.
And if I could add to that,
please do.
He paid $50,000 to keep that video from seeing the light of day. It's only seeing the light of day now.
Wow. So
when he airs all these little apology videos and stuff like that, he's not sorry. He's sorry because he got fucking caught.
Exactly. There was a lot of I in that apology video, and he posted that on his Instagram account. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. I'm not going to share that stuff. It doesn't need to be shared because I'm not really about this. I'm not trying to glamorize, Sean Combs, or I am very, I don't know the person, but is it Cassie? I don't know her full name.
That's what she goes by, but I actually don't know her government name. I don't have any idea.
And I could naturally
she goes by Cassie.
I could naturally put images up here on the screen like I would normally do to help, build the story. Beautiful, beautiful young woman. But, it doesn't matter, what God has given you. Appearances wise, beautiful on the outside, beautiful on the inside. But naturally, of course, I think a lot of people can say, wow, she's a drop dead gorgeous. But that doesn't matter. No person on this planet deserves, not even an animal deserves to be treated the way he was treating from that video alone.
No.
And when I watched that video, I'm sure I was like millions of others out there that it just triggered something inside of me. It took me back to something that I personally experienced when I was from the age of 9 to 14. And I dealt with those feelings, and it took me a while to deal with those feelings when I was younger. But when I watched that video and then I hear enough about all of the other people's opinions, of course, and how they feel, I went further and further back into that dark time in my life. And I don't want to make this sound like whatever they call it in here recent years, the Me Too movement. Look, men can be abused just as much as women can. Emotionally, physically, you know that.
Mentally.
I know that. And I'm not trying to take anything away from it. We all, as human beings, can be physically and emotionally scarred from abusiveness like that. And it took me back to when I was a kid. And there were some things that I hadn't thought about in a while that I thought that I had overcome those things. And I really believe it has still affected my life to this very day. I'm in my early 50s and I keep a distance with a lot of people. In other words, I should put it this way. I don't have relationships that much at all in my life. I've dated. I've been married for like briefly. And thankfully, my son's mother and I are still very good friends to this day because we've always put our son first. But even since then, I've dated very briefly. And I know one of the reasons why it's because of something that happened in my personal life to where I was absolutely afraid. And like I stated, I thought I got over this stuff or dealt with those problems in the past. But I still feel to this day that because of what I've experienced with what happened to me when I was a little boy, I feared that I was going to turn into just like him. And it's one of the reasons why I've been afraid to be in a healthy relationship with a partner. Mm-hmm. My mom, she was 18 years old when she had me. My biological, I always joke around and call him a sperm donator because I didn't meet him until I was 14 years old. And it was just a couple days. He came to Ohio, which is where I'm born and raised, Dayton, Ohio. Excuse me. And I didn't really care about meeting this guy. He was a stranger to me. Here I am, 53, going on 54, and that was the only time I ever met him. And when I was 14 years old, he asked if he could be in my life more or he'd like to see me more, and I've never seen him since then. That's kind of messed with my head a little bit too, even though I put it off like I never really cared, because my mom did eventually meet who I consider to be a father figure in my life, Brian Waymeyer, who my mother and I and everybody else who knows him closely or even heard about him knows that he's had to deal with some health issues recently. And it was pretty scary there for a while, but thankfully he's at home right now and he's doing everything he can to, well, cut his own lawn soon, drive his own Jeep soon, and enjoy, I don't know, just tolerating my mother like he used to. So he's been, I guess when my mom first started dating him, he's somebody who I wished he was my biological father because he was always a good father figure. He was always a damn good person. And I'm so thankful for him because even though I realize I still have issues with my past, I'm still I don't think if it wasn't for Brian, I don't think I would have been able to get over those. Now, I haven't mentioned the darkness. It wasn't the biological sperm donator. It was technically my mom's first husband. My brother who lives in Chicago, who's 10 years younger than me, he's technically my half brother. This man was extremely abusive towards me and my mother, physically abusive. Seeing that video with Sean kicking her, grabbing her. Okay, it's one thing when I used to get kicked because I got in trouble for doing something. It's one thing when the belt came out and I got whipped like you wouldn't believe. I got numb to that after a while. I was still afraid of it. It still hurt. But when I watched him do those things to my mom, similar to what we seen in that video, and not to mention the other baggage that came along with it, because my mom went through the denials of he wasn't really abusive towards me. And even time I would go to my grandmother and my uncles that they just wanted to, and I'm going to be careful with my words. Anybody who's watching, listening, you get the idea. they wanted to, you know what, around his, they just wanted to do really bad things to that man because what he was doing to, well, their sister and their nephew, you know, yeah. Folks, I used to love to draw all the time. That was my first creative outlet. And because this man grew up in a time where lefties weren't supposed to, in other words, I'm born left-handed. He was a little boy, and then at that time of his age, you weren't allowed to write with your left hand. It was something sacrilegious or whatever. And when my mom's back was turned, he did not like me drawing. He would smack me all the time for drawing with my left hand. I'm born left-handed. I'm born using the right side of my brain. As they say, the creative part, right in mind, whatever. I got in trouble for drawing from him. I got in trouble if I was eating with my left hand. I got in trouble if I took my shoes off before I went to bed. All this kind of shit. And I would get physically abused by it all the time. I don't go around talking about this stuff, especially on a damn podcast, and I am not trying to get any more views or any listeners, and hopefully we get to 101 because of this. No. Chris brought it up, I want to say in season 1, how we like to, if any men out there are struggling, any mental abuse, I mean, even if you don't even want to share your name, you could contact us. We got that email. I mean, there's all ways that you can reach out if you just need someone to talk to. Because there's a lot of things that I think the world is a tougher place today than it was when I was dealing with that SOB when I was a teenager. So I can imagine, especially when we're constantly turning on the news and there's a young teenage boy that went into school and did terrible things. I don't need to go there. You know what I'm talking about. We hear it all the time. Mm-hmm. The list goes on and on and on and on. And we're always pointing fingers on this and that. No. I don't have the answers, but I think if we talked, if we listened, maybe that's a start. Not type, but spoke, sat down, had a heart to heart. But you got to start somewhere, but don't point fingers. Okay. Chris, could you please, if you I feel like I've interrupted something here.
No. I was going to just, support you on that. I was going to back you up. I mean, if there's one thing I would want out of this podcast, it's that, guys don't feel alone out there. I think men walk through life right now. And somehow, if they're too afraid to talk about their feelings or emotions or something like that, they're considered, if they do it, they're not a man or something. I think it's fucking bullshit. Like, what if we were to sit down and analyze what actually is a man? I mean, in our definitions.
Sorry, my cord's stuck. Here, sorry.
I know my definitions: a provider. Love is sacrifice. It's about what you're willing to do when you put other people in front of you. I think we have the wrong perception of what men are supposed to be in the world. They're just supposed to be this, silent person that goes through life until eventually they get sick of the whole fucking thing and they do something terrible to themselves or something like that. I mean, suicide rates are skyrocketing. It's fucking absurd. If you just have a friend, I mean, let's normalize supporting other men and just talking about and getting out. There should be no, what we're trying to do by sharing stories, what Scott just did by sharing his story was try to even the playing field. It's almost like saying, I'm not perfect. I got problems. Maybe you could share your problems with me and maybe we could help each other out. I think it's totally normal, totally healthy. I believe in being quiet and listening. So that's why I was so quiet about trying to let him get that out. Because it's hard to get it out. I mean, my dad was no saint. He was a rough guy. It's a weird situation that I was in because my biological dad, his name was Eugene. And it was like he waited his whole life to have the son. He had he had one son that died, and then he had two daughters after that, and he felt like he was never going to get a son again. So when he finally got a son, it was like he wouldn't actually do the physical abuse to his son, but his son, being me, witnessed all of it because he beat my mother and he beat both of my sisters. And it was like he wouldn't actually touch me. It was like I was like the chosen one or something like that. But I would try to get in the way. I would get knocked out of the way, and then I had to like witness what he would do to them. So it wasn't the physical part so much I wasn't afraid of. It was like, how can we not have my mother beat to shit tonight? How can we do that?
Yeah.
You know, it was like playing a game. It was fucked up. And then going from that, because I only lived with him until I was 6. After that, he divorced my mom. He left. He went and did his own thing. He started a new family. I would see him occasionally, but nothing concrete. And he finally died when I was 18. So from about 12 years old to, God, like 18, my mom started dating this other guy. His name was Earl. He was not physical because he was just kind of a little guy. I mean, I don't know if he thought he was going to get his ass kicked or whatever, but he was a complete mental, manipulative, like just psycho fuck. And the shit that he would do
Sounds like Charles Manson.
It would be like I was
sorry.
It would be like I was a prisoner in my own house. Like, he had my mom working 2 jobs, supporting him while he stayed at home. And then it was like I was not allowed to leave my bedroom. I lived pretty much my entire life out of my bedroom. Like, that's why I'm so addicted to like video games and music and movies, and they were all my escapes because I couldn't go anywhere. I was just, you know, I was forced to stay in there. Like, he was such a manipulative guy. He would fuck with my mom. He would fuck with me mentally. Like, I almost think mental abuse is worse than physical in some ways.
Yeah.
I don't know, because it's something I've never been able to kick. Like, I'll catch myself doing things as a 41-year-old man, like, where I still think like a little kid. I think there's I don't know. I may be way out of left field here, but I think there's like an age where we, as men, as people walking around, and women, where we just peak. I think as adults, some adults that you look at walking around, we're just kind of like, we're still kids. We still think like we're kids. It's unhealthy, I know, but I swear, and the more people I talk to, the more it just makes sense. Yeah, we keep growing older, but essentially on the inside, we're still little kids.
You know, and if you can, if you're capable of putting yourself in a position of doing things that you couldn't do when you were a kid or a young adult, if you can, then by all means, go for it. I think a lot about what you've said, Chris, and this was, let's say, almost a year ago. It was in this concept of like buy Meyer masks, you know, or you didn't think about, you just do it. You just go for it. You just do it. It's kind of like you were saying, and it makes sense. In other words, I'm going to put words in your mouth. You only live once. Guy. Yeah, you only live once. I'm putting those words in your mouth right now because it's true. We do only live once. And here, Lacey, here lately, I have been financially, well, thankfully, I'm in a position with my job right now where I can, and I've worked hard for it, and I'm not going to sit here and put myself on a fucking pedestal. No, that's not what it's about. But I make sure my bills are paid for, but I'm going out and buying things that I haven't done in a while, and I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe I have them. And I can't stop doing it, but I make sure my bill. But fuck it. I haven't been able to do it in a while. And I think like what Chris said, and I'm paraphrasing, but fuck it. You're I mean, if I saved everything, if I was worried about and if I was still getting and if I died tomorrow, then I never got a chance to enjoy the things that maybe the things, and it does relate to the subject matter because there's things I couldn't enjoy and I'm enjoying them now. It may not, for some people, they may say it's not the healthiest, but you know what? I'm putting a roof over my head. I'm helping, even though my son will be 29, but he's autistic. We're still his guardian. I still do my part of raising our son. I pay my bills. So fuck it. If I want to go out and occasionally get involved with masks, if I want to now own 3 electric Eddie Van Halen guitars, and soon,
Fuck 'em.
and
yes, sir.
And soon, an amp and you'll see it in the background most likely.
Hey, keep going is what I say. Every time I think about stuff like that, all I think about is that little kid that was just scared, walking on eggshells in his entire life, and told that he couldn't do this and that. And I'm a 41-year-old man.
And you know, another reason why I do this, sorry, and I don't mean to interrupt, because that motherfucker, that asshole, that evil, sick bastard that did what he did to my mom and slapped the shit around on me. And you talked about what he did, and he wasn't abusive towards you. Your biological asshole.
No, I actually had 2 physical altercations with him, and it's once I was like 16 and 17 years old. He waited to do anything until those ages. He never touched me before then.
He was the same way with his biological son. He never touched my brother. I'm not going to say his name just in case, but well, it doesn't matter. Jamie. He never touched Jamie. But my mom. Oh man, I'm not going to, folks. I'm not going to get in the details what he did with my mom because it just hurts too much to even think about it. If I say it out loud, I don't need to go there. He was really bad to my mom. I'll just say choking, and I probably shouldn't say that because I'm also thinking of flagging how YouTube is and all that, but he was very physically abusive towards and I've already said enough damaging things here about what he did to me, but I don't need to go in all the details. It's not necessary. It's just because we're not going to dwell on the subject matter about me and but I think about
they don't need it.
But
examples, I'm sure. The
things that I'm doing for myself now, and I continue to do for my son, and even spoiling the shit out of a dog. I was telling Chris before I hit the record button, I've got one bed. Zach's got one bed, but Dozer, the golden retriever that lives here now, that was my dad's dog, my mom and dad's dog. He's got 2 beds. He's got one at the end of my bed. He's got one in the living room. So,
little dozy,
yeah,
little dozy. Well, so he's a sweet boy.
Yeah, he's a good puppy. He really is. 3 years old. But that asshole couldn't provide for his family because we got kicked out of one apartment and another, and we were living in hotel rooms. I mean, I almost feel like I could write a book about this shit. You know, the story. And
and
he was in his 40s, and he couldn't support it. So
every time I think about my actual father and like how reliant on smoking and drinking he was a bean drunk. I think I'm a happy drunk. You get me drunk, dude, I'm happy as hell.
I'm the same way.
Have fun.
By the way,
understand.
This podcast is sponsored by water.
Vodka. Vodka, folks. But no, I think about that because the man, I hate apathetic people. I hate people that have so much working for them and then they just destroy it all. You know what I mean? Because I think about how hard I've worked to get where I'm at, and how much I've gone through. So when I think about how I used to watch how that man used to live his life, and we'd go and pick him up in the middle of ditches at 2:30 in the morning and shit like that, and bring him home, wasted out of his mind. And then, you know, he'd have either me or my sisters, like one of us, go fix him. His drink was like cornbread and milk. He used to put them together and drink that when he was like wasted. So you go fix that. And then, you know, somehow, you know, his cornbread and milk wasn't fucking fixed right. So he'd slap the shit out of him, or he'd throw one of them down the stairs, or he'd fucking, you know, some shit like that over a drink. So I think about like that man, as much pressure as he put on everybody and strain on everybody's life. And all he had to do was go to work. He came home every night. I think about how I work and how I go and leave and stay in hotels, and it's so hard. And I think about all this bullshit, and all I can do is look back and say that was a fucking weak man. I look at him now and I feel like a giant standing over him. I think he's such a small little weak man. And I think it took me till I was, you know, 40 years old to just look back and actually feel good about myself and be like, you know what? I did so much better than you. Everything you've ever taught me or tried to teach me to do, that man never even taught me how to ride a bike. Everything he tried to teach me to do, it was like all I learned out of life was to flip it on its head, do the opposite of whatever he would do, is how I tried to live my life.
My cousin Mike taught me how to ride a bike, and I'm saying that because we lost my cousin Mike not too long ago. Another father figure in my life.
Dustin, remember Dustin?
Yeah, Dustin. Of course I remember him. I hope I remember him.
My nephew?
Yeah.
His dad, Bob, actually taught me how to ride a bike.
Okay.
He was dating my sister, Dawn, at the time.
Met him when you were moving. Yep. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I better remember Dustin. Yeah. So we had a long conversation not too long ago.
Hey, he's gonna be on here,
God,
right?
I can't.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that particular podcast. Dustin is that young man. He'd be damn good at this. Really good at this. So Dustin,
if you're trying to tell him,
if you're watching or listening, Dustin, I wasn't kidding then, and I'm not kidding now. I mean, I'm hoping that if you're watching this podcast, listening, you know that this is definitely one of our more serious ones, and I think we're handling it quite well. And I do want to ask this real quick before I forget. I can't help but think of your daughters right now. Have they ever asked about technically their grandfather?
They know everything.
Okay.
It probably wasn't good parenting, but you know, I've always been honest with them about it. Like,
I think that's excellent.
Your grandpa was, especially with them knowing my mother, their grandmother, so well because of what he did to her. Like, he was very, very mean, very abusive, man. I've never held back on telling them about that because they have a right to know, I think.
And
I think they do.
I
They're
agree.
never going to meet the man.
I agree with that parenting. At least they know. And look at them now. I mean, it's a part of their life. It is a part of their life. It's a part of their history. Excuse me. In history. You know what? I can't say it because I'm going to cough again. It's part of, I'm trying
allergic to that word.
Yeah. It's a part of who they are. And as long as they understand the facts, don't sugarcoat it, because when they get older, they're going to, why didn't the hell didn't you tell me? I could have handled it. You know?
Right.
It was.
No, it's not like to the viewers out there. It's not like I was reading them a bedtime story and I was like, oh, by the way, your grandpa beat the shit out of everybody. I didn't do that.
You remember when we went to go see that film Halloween in the theaters? Well, there's a guy that was much. Speaking of father figures, on a positive note, and I was just glancing, I was talking, and I always bring it into these podcasts. I just looked at my own very chest. And this is another reason why Edward was such a value in my life, because in a sense, he was a father figure to me. I know a lot of people don't understand that, but because of the world that I guess you could say created, that I had to live in to keep things right for me at a time.
Right.
Edward,
the bubble.
I looked up to him in so many ways, And so you could take the person that people see outside of as a musician, a guitar hero, but to me, he was so much more than that. And it's so funny. I'm glad to say that my uncles and my aunt, my cousins, Brian Waymeyer and Edward Van Halen were always role models in my life. And I'm fucking proud of that. And Chris, I don't want to end it there. I want to extend what you talked about before. In other words, please elaborate more on your family if you want to. I want to make this reaching out to our viewers or listeners or someone maybe has caught this video. Look, I know times are so much different now than they were back when I was, let's say, 20 something years old. And when I was in my 20s, it was difficult then. I'm not that old, but it was difficult for young men to come out of the closet. That's what we used. You know,
Yeah.
In other words, they're homosexual, either heterosexual or homosexual. And I would imagine today that might be easier. I don't know. I'm not in your shoes. Chris and I, we have our topics on here all the time, but if with this subject matter alone, when it comes to mental and physical abuse, if you are dealing with that and it's a different road than what Chris and I have traveled, don't feel like, well, my problems may not be as big as yours. They're your problems and they're fucking huge. And I'm not trying to make that sound like a bad thing. Don't ever think that, well, mine's not really that big of a, no. They're your problems. And you're the one that has to carry them. You're the one that has to figure out how to mold it, how to deal with it, and let it be a part of who you are, and then eventually become, hopefully, the person that you want to be. Just to get out of this, to escape from the darkness. So it's just going back to
very well said.
If you want to,
very well said.
Yeah, if you need someone to talk to, and I may not, it's not Chris and I. We're not going to try to solve your problem. You just need someone to listen. Reach out to us. Email if you want to really keep it private. That email's in the description box. If you meet us in the man cave on Instagram, you can reach out to us there. DM us there. I'm guilty with Facebook. I'll be on. I wouldn't even look. I may post, hey, check out the latest video there every once in a blue moon. But direct message there, I don't even have Facebook on my phone. So I would say Instagram, email. And if you're not too shy, you could obviously leave it in the comment section down below. That's your choice. So I just want to make sure I threw that out there before we enter this podcast.
Sure. Playing off that, everybody's story is important. It is, like Scott just said, it's who you are. It's owning it and recovering from it is part of the journey of life. Like your life is important. I think everybody's life is important in a way. I mean, you should value your own life. I mean, you're valuable. You have something to contribute to mankind, whether you think you do or don't. And
there's a reason. You're here for a reason.
Just opening up, showing a little bit of vulnerability. I think vulnerability is one of the strongest attributes of any human. If you're willing to come out and just say, yeah, this is me. This is me. If you like it, cool. We can be friends. If you don't, damn, we gave it a shot, It's just opening up your vulnerability, talking, getting your story out, having a person, an ear, hear it and support you on it can be so much bigger than just staying quiet because you think it's not manly or it's, nobody cares. All right, there's plenty of people that care. If we ain't got anybody else to talk to, like Scott said, if we can contribute in any way, shape, or form, we're going to try.
And I want to make sure to Chris and I are not professionals. We're not doctors. We're not.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And if you're thinking about doing something terrible to yourself, oh my God, there are so many sources out there. And I'll try my best to find those phone numbers to put down there, because like I said, we're not professionals, but just don't give up. Dear Lord, do not give up. Do not give up. I don't know what it's like to live in your world, but if it helps just to start talking, because I honestly thought, I said in the beginning, if my tone gets high, because I know what I've lived, and it's got a lot of anger, it's got a lot of darkness, it's got a lot of, but just talking about it, you feel a lot better, and you realize, you know what?
Being heard.
Yeah.
Being heard means a lot.
And listening.
Knowing that there's another human out there that I think that's what musicians feel. I've talked about it from my point of view, like it makes you not feel alone. I talked about that a long time ago. I think musicians, it's a cycle. It's reciprocity. It's the singers want that too. They just want someone to hear their story. That's why they write this beautiful music.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. You just gotta just talk. I mean, listening to Chris, even though I've heard him talked about it before, but when I listen to him, when I listen to his journey, when I listen to what he goes through, you know what, that it's so simple, but sometimes you forget you're not alone. You're not alone. So it helps.
That's perfect. That's perfect right there. That's how we should end it. You're not alone.
Yeah. Well,
your story is important and you're not alone.
Folks, I think we pretty much hit this subject. I know Chris and I will visit this again, not necessarily our journey or what we've been through. I mean, if you want to talk about it, we can, but this is an important issue for both men and women as human beings, but we want to make sure that if you guys out there, or even if you're, and I'm going to look, we're human beings first. If you're not so sure about, it doesn't matter. We'll get, when we get there, we'll get there. If you need someone to talk to, give us a shout out and we'll just go from there. And
we talked a lot about men's health. Let me just add in there, I think men would be nothing without women. We
wouldn't exist.
If you are listening at this point, if you are listening at this time, you are more valuable than you know. Like growing up with a single mother, like it's been a privilege to watch the strength of women. They're some of the strongest creatures that I know. The shit that my mother went through, I don't think any man could have went through.
We don't call it Mother Earth for nothing.
Your story is just as important. You deserve to be heard just as much. I just wanted to put that in there because I know we were going the man cave route because we're getting a lot of men, but women, you are, if not more important, you are just as important.
I mean, it makes sense. We were talking so much about what hurt us the most. It's, our mothers getting abused.
Oh, yeah.
You can beat me as hard as you want with the brick, with the boot, with the belt. You can slap me all the time for drawing. I could sit here and talk about it and not feel like, but if you recall, I didn't really go down the road of what he did to my mom. I can't go there.
Mm-mm. Yeah, no.
Like I
Watching that being done to the person who gave you life is just like.
And when you feel like you can't protect her, it makes you feel like shit. It makes you feel less than human being. Then that's why I was going through a lot, because I felt like if I could have done a better job of protecting my mom, then we could have escaped to that route much earlier. But there's reasons. Things happen for a reason. If I was Superman and stopped him from doing what he did years earlier, maybe my brother wouldn't have been born, and maybe my mom would have met Brian. So we had to go through those times in order to go through it. So things happen for a reason.
It's a funny anecdote. I used to dress up like Michael Jackson. My mom's got pictures of it, and I used to try to do little dances in the living room and stuff like that, and try to do like a stand-up comedy act. Like I was anything for a laugh, anything to try to bring like, some happiness. And it was really just trying to keep it from the normal, everyday, every night activities.
Yeah.
It was really just trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like kids will do anything just to. They'll look at it and say, okay, I don't care what I look like or anything else. I don't care if I look stupid. Like as long as everybody's laughing and having fun.
It's amazing.
That's fucked up put on kids.
I'm thinking of Mom. Talk about that. My mom. Oh God. I will start getting. And no matter what, my mom's always she's gonna do whatever she can to always be mom. Even though that's the thing. I have a hard time seeing my mom and Brian being older, because they've always been the mom and dad, and she still does the shit as if I was a kid.
Remember what I said? I literally think we grow until we hit this peak age, and then we're just that age forever. Like I still walk around like I'm a kid. Like I'll think like, no, don't do that.
Hey,
don't do that. Don't buy that. You're going to get in trouble. Who the fuck am I going to get in trouble by? Like, oh God, I hate that shit. That's why I go to the impulse, like, fuck them. I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to buy it right now. I'm going to put it right in their face.
I'm surrounded by latex masks that kids wear, that adults make, that you have to have an adult wages to afford to buy. Oh, well, Chris, I think we did a pretty good job on this subject with, I know, like, yeah, we'll tackle it again.
It's heavy. It's heavy. Yeah. There's a lot in it. And, man, I mean, we tried to keep it, entertaining, I think, but it's heavy.
I'm just glad it wasn't about who. It's Sean Combs. It wasn't about him.
Oh, fuck that guy.
Yeah, that piece of shit. That piece of shit.
Him. As soon as I saw him, he kicked her. I wish I could. No.
They say America's about second chances. Well, you know what? When you are a murderer, when you are a R word, and when you're a pedophile, and when you're him, all that shit goes out the fucking door.
Yeah. Oh. Dogs, kids, and women, I get real triggered.
And what the fuck are you drinking? If you harm. All right, folks. I don't mean to speak for Chris, but thank you so much for joining us down here in the man cave. I'm sure the next episode we'll have something more uplifting, something more fun. Maybe we could do a little bit of horror. Maybe get update on that. Definitely some music, some cars. Yeah, I got to hear about some cars and some random shit.
Maybe they like the depressing shit. We'll let them decide.
Yeah. You want some depressing shit? Guess what's coming out in the theaters sometime soon? Another reboot. That's right. The Strangers Chapter 1. It's basically a reboot from something that was done in 2008.
Yikes.
Yeah. Yeah. So go see that in your local theaters. Bullshit. All right. I'm going to pretend to hit that button. Why? Because there's a reason for it. Just trust us, folks.
Get it.
All right. Boop. Chris and I would like to thank you for watching or listening to Meet Us in the Man Cave. Since you enjoyed watching us, make sure that you tell all your friends and family to subscribe to Meet Us in the Man Cave here on YouTube. Make sure you click on that notification bell. That way you're notified on our next video podcast or live stream video. Better yet, if you appreciate freedom of speech and oppose censorship for content creators, make sure you follow Meet Us in the Man Cave on Rumble. Are you on Discord? Well, Meet Us in the Man Cave's there. Come and hang out with us. You can find and follow Meet Us in the Man Cave on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads. And as always, you can listen and download Meet Us in the Man Cave on your favorite podcasting app. Available to stream or download so you can listen all you want, whenever you want. For more information, go to meetusinthemancave.podbean.com.